overnight, and now taking aim at the areas that have already
It's crazy.
been hit so hard by this record hurricane season.
Hey guys, so this is week 2 of my disaster / end of the world movie review series, and I just can't believe how crazy the world has gotten since the last video. First, there was some purge thing going on, and there was just some freaky stuff going on, and now it just seems like the weather is crazy and it's cold, and I've got my scarf and everything. So I will be talking to you guys and how fittingly it is for the day after tomorrow. When climate change alters the effects of weather on Earth to an extreme, one man has to race against time to save his son before a second ice age consumes them. So as far as the story goes, Roland Emmerich, who is most well known for directing several disaster movies, some of which I actually enjoy watching, ironic, I know, makes this 2004 blockbuster one that gives you everything from start to finish. I mean, it is like this swift Arctic punch that you get from the beginning of the movie when it starts off in Antarctica, but it's not actually filming in Antarctica because it would be really impossible to go down there. But you have these climatologists who see that the whole Arctic shelf is breaking off, and that sets off a chain reaction of weather patterns that you wouldn't expect to ever be realistic or see them all coming out at once or within a matter of weeks. And they literally all have weeks to survive before the storm gets even worse. But the reality that, the world is facing currently, we're in this global crisis, and you have to put your movie goer, thinking caps on and saying to yourself, what are you going to do to help the environment? And that's literally some of the issues that they tackle on here in this movie, because they're trying to, prevent all this from happening and trying to save as many people as they can. And when the characters are put in survival mode, the plot gets more intense and interesting and character driven all at once, and you really can't wait to see, how this is all going to turn out, and, what all these people are going to do with every perilous event that unfolds. And I've seen this movie several times, so nothing exactly phases me watching this movie, but I end up getting really excited when I see this. As far as the casting goes, you've got Dennis Quaid, who's in the lead, and it is actually a really unexpected role that I would ever see him in. I know I've seen him in movies where he doesn't exactly play this type of action hero guy, but it's sort of unconventional because he's his husband, he's a father, and he's, trying to rescue his son and his friends who are all stranded in New York, and he, has to basically go, get him while all this crazy weather is taking place. And I think he was really good in this, and I was actually really happy about that. And of course, playing his son is Jake Gyllenhaal, who, I did like seeing in this movie, even though I feel like at times I was taking him less seriously every time I feel like he was cracking a joke. But I mean, who wouldn't crack jokes during this time where you feel like, okay, maybe I don't have that long to live, I sort of have to take things lightly, even in the scariest of times. And I feel like he did overall work well with the scenes that he had, no matter how intense they got. And other characters just seemed to, want to come along for the ride. Those who were trying to survive this impending ice doom. The things that I liked about this movie was that how each disaster scene was told, it was in a unique way that it would eventually flow naturally with the rest of the movie. And I really like that, instead of just sort of like like putting like bam, 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 scene after scene. It's like all in your face, and it didn't feel like that at all with this movie. But I say I still get affected, you know, when I watch the scene with the tornadoes in LA or the tidal wave that hits New York City. I mean, it just gets so crazy to watch every single time, even when it feels suspenseful and intense, and it puts you on the edge of your seat. I mean, sometimes I have a huge grin on my face watching this because it's just so crazy to see how much the action ramps up. But of course, Roland Emmerich is no stranger to doing things like that. I'm talking to you, Independence Day. And I really loved hearing the musical score. I mean, even from the beginning of the movie, I loved hearing how it just adds to this escalating tone of the movie, whether it's a somber one, dramatic, or even terrifying. Like, there are these survivors that go to the library in New York, and then they hear this noise, and then all of a sudden they look out the window and this ship goes past the building, and then it just stays there. And it's just so, like, the way it sounds is so creepy and eerie, and it sometimes sends a chill down my spine to watch it. But unfortunately, the things that I didn't really like about this movie was that, wow, there are some moments in CGI. I, sometimes have to think to myself, okay, I have to take myself out of knowing that, of course, it looks fake, but some moments look really ridiculously fake and may not stand the test of time as far as technology goes, but I still think it gets its job done while showing, what the atmosphere could look like if this really happened. I mean, it would be crazy if it did, but either way, it's just a pretty intense movie overall. So overall, I would say that I still like this movie, whether or not I'm, a big fan of Roland Emmerich disaster movies. I mean, honestly, sometimes they could get more ridiculous as the years go by, but this one, I still enjoy it after all these years. I would recommend it to you guys, whether or not you're a fan of his and whether or not you like these types of movies. So I would give this 4 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of The Day After Tomorrow, and come back next week for week 3 of my disaster end of the world movie reviews, and I hope we make it once again, and I hope it's not going to get any more intense than this, because I'm getting chilly just thinking about it. Anyway, I have to warm up, and as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates coming every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys later.